Okay, so a little diary here for my garden. I got some bags of leaves, a few of them just kind of around, and I let them sit out here for about 2 weeks so that they could get nice and wet. Um, I did this on purpose because I wanted to try and see the Ruth stout method with the leaves underneath and then putting hay on top or straw on top. This is hay, and then this straw is just what I had put down in the fall. And this whole thing I am going to plant potatoes in. And I think that I'm hopeful that this is that the with the leaves and the hay is going to be much better. When you pull open the bag of leaves, I mean, you can just see how wet and how moist it is in there. And I actually saw a few bugs and a few worms in there when I was pulling it apart. So I'm thinking that the leaves are going to be a good asset to my garden, and um, I will keep up on this diary here. So, this is my garden. I'm just starting to plant, and I planted some regular lettuce in here. I planted 3 rows of onions and then a row of chives over here. And I have one little friend from last year. I planted some more leafy greens in here, and I planted peas along there. I planted, what are they? Radishes. That's it. That's the right word. Planted radishes here and then carrots here. And it's super close together, but the radishes only take like 25 to 30 days. So I think that I'll be able to pull the radishes before they harm any of the carrots, and I will see how that goes. In this section here, in this little square before it gets to the trellises, I planted Detroit beets. Down here, I planted kohlrabi. I think that was where I planted kohlrabi. I took pictures of these. Um, I believe maybe here I planted kohlrabi. Who knows? I don't know. And then here I planted Brussels sprouts, and I think that was it. I have put a little bit more hay on top of here. I'm going to kind of fluff it up before I am done here today. But I have extended, so last year my garden was just these wooden beds, which I guess just is not a great word to use because that's a ton of space. But I extended my garden by several feet, and with adding these mounds of hay here and there, and then I'm going to add more rows of the Ruth Stout method here along here, and then I'm going to add some more down here. So I will be adding a ton more. I think that I will also add, my husband wants to just plant potatoes in just soil, and I think he's probably going to mound it here. So last year we planted our potatoes in here, and I think that we could have gotten a ton more if we would have waited a little bit longer to harvest them, and if we would have planted them a little bit closer together. This is year 2 of gardening, and it's been interesting to see how everything kind of develops. So we are probably more than doubling our garden space this year, and we're going to plant more. I planted a ton of onions, and we're going to plant a ton of potatoes because we want to have more that we can have more vegetables over the winter that we don't have to purchase. Last year, in one of these trellises, we had spaghetti squash, and I still have spaghetti squash, and it is the middle of April. There are still some spaghetti squash that I can eat, and it still stays that good. So if you see a winter squash means that you are able to keep it over the winter and continue to eat it. I found that that is very fascinating, and I hope that you do too. So I am going to finish laying out the rest of the hay and leaves, and then I will pick up my last 2 bales. Hopefully they're kind of rotted enough. There was a tarp over top of them, so they're not too bad, but um, I've got that to do, and then I have to staple the chicken wire to my fence because those little bunnies got through quite a bit last year, and I was not excited about that. So I've got a lot of work to do in the next week or two, but I think that I should be able to do it in probably a total of 12 hours or less, I'm hoping. Probably much less than that, actually. And I am going to try to schedule my time wisely and gonna keep everybody updated and myself. Thanks for watching if you've come.